Well, I'm here in a very windy, very stormy, as you can see in the background, Scarborough on the northeast coast of England. And I'm here today to try a lens that I've owned for a long time but never done a review on. And that's by Olympus 40-150 f4 to f5.6. Join me. Roll titles. Well, hi YouTube, Brian James at Micro Four Thirds Guide with you on a rather, as I say, windy and stormy place in Scarborough today with a very, very low-lying cloud. So there's not a great deal I can pick up from here. But I'm out today doing this 40-150mm Olympus lens. It was the second Olympus, it was the second Micro Four Thirds lens I ever bought. But it's one that I use so infrequently. I've got lenses which cover this focal length quite comfortably and give me a greater range, so you tend to use them more. But this was one of those inexpensive lenses which just worked so well. Very, very sharp lens. It's relatively inexpensive as well. In the second-hand market you can get them easily enough because it came as a kit lens with some of the cameras when the micro was past. Now I'm out here trying. I'm just going to take some shots. I'm not going to go into the technical details of this. As you can see, it's a 40-150. It's f4 to f5.6. And it's also one of their MSC lenses, which is the video compliant one. So it's a very, very quiet autofocus system on this. Really, really good for if you're doing something to with a bit of video and you want the long reach lens for that. So let's go around, take a few photographs as I'm around here. Let's see what I can get, and I'll tell you more about it in a few minutes. Now, one thing I've liked about this lens since the day I got it is that the focusing on it is lightning fast. Really is super, and it's very accurate when I've been trying to focus on the thing. Even in today's conditions where there's not really much to give it a benefit of. You can't easily see straight lines, there's not much in the way of contrast because of the very, very low overcast clouds. But even then it still locks on really well. I've been looking out on the 150mm end for some of the people who are out there surfboarding in those waves. Crazy people, but it's managed to get quite a bit of detail on them, even though it's at the limit of its 150mm. As I said, it's a super sharp little lens and really, really useful to most photographers if you don't want to spend a fortune on this sort of focal length. Now I found Scarborough a fabulous little place. It's on the northeast coast of England, probably about 100 miles south of the Scottish border, so it's a little way down, at the bottom end of Yorkshire. It's obviously a seaside resort here with some fantastic places, museums, cable cars which run vertically almost up and down the side of the hill because everything's built on top of the hill. Oliver's Mount, which is a racetrack not far away. About 5 miles away from Filey and probably about 25 miles away from Whitby, so it really is on a fantastic location. A lot of people come here for holidays. It really is one of those places which is attractive. A lot of Victoriana around here, a lot of older buildings which make it very attractive, and obviously as you can see in the background, some amazing seas, and obviously for the surfboarders, they love it. Now, construction wise, this is a plastic lens, nothing more, nothing less. It is an inexpensive lens, and it's in a very, very similar design to the 75-300, which I reviewed. I'll put a link above, a couple of years ago, which is a very popular lens from the Olympus line. This is in a very, very similar build quality. It feels a little bit light and inexpensive, but in actual fact it's a very robust design. This thing's been dropped a couple of times, not that I wanted to do that, and it's just bounced and carried on working perfectly well. And it's been a great little lens to have if you want durability. As I say, it's inexpensive, so therefore even if you do break it, they're not difficult to get hold of, especially on the second-hand market. I think I paid well less than £100 for this when I bought it a few years ago. So they are very, very easily available. The other thing with it is, as I say, because I have dropped it, I expected it to have some sort of problems with it, but optically it's been spot on. It doesn't necessarily give the best contrast, I would say. You know, that's a subjective thing compared to what you'd expect from something, but for this price you really can't complain about it whatsoever. It does have a plastic mount, so that puts it off for some people, doesn't put it off for me. But the biggest advantage to this lens that I've got is the fact that because it is so light, so small when it's put down. I'll just wind this back in again and let you see what I mean. It's not a particularly big lens, it's not short either, but it's pocketable. It's one of those lenses that you can keep in your pocket if you've got something like a 12 to 40 or a 14 to 42 mm lens. You can stick this in your pocket. It's the next logical extension up from that, and it's going to give you some really good shots for things which are just out of your normal reach with your standard kit lens. Well, I've just had a nice chat with one of the surfers out there, and they say that they've had absolute fun out there. They say the water's not too cold. I don't believe them for 1 second, but it's really good. What I have enjoyed is watching them come up the stairs with huge, great big smiles on their faces. And I think when you come to somewhere like Scarborough, whatever you're doing here, whether it's for a seaside resort or whether you want to be doing some sort of sporting activity like the surfers here, I think having fun is the most important part of it. And it's really pleasant when you see them coming up the steps with the surfboards in their arms and great big smiles on their faces. Totally enjoyed it. What I'm not enjoying is I'm getting wet at the minute, so I'm going to have to probably put the cameras away for a few moments and continue this video a little bit later perhaps. Now, one of the bad things about this particular lens, and indeed the camera and lens that I'm taking these videos on, is they're not waterproof, and I'm going to have to stop and put this away just to keep it steady because the rain is starting to come down quite heavily on me. Now, one of the things I find most useful in my camera case is this. It's a microfiber cloth because I just got soaked up there, so I'm just going to give the lens a quick wipe off with a microfiber cloth and the camera as well, just to keep it nice and clean and dry and stop any water getting in, because as I say, it's not a weather resistant lens at all. So just be on the side of caution if you're going to use it for anything where the weather's a bit inclement. Now, as is usual in the UK, whenever we've had a little bit of cold and wet, 5 minutes later you're going to take your coat off because you're absolutely sweating. It is warm now. 5 minutes after I stopped the video before for the rain dashing down, and it's warm. Now I'm going to take you through a few specs on this lens while I get the chance to. Aperture wise, well, at the 40mm end, and its maximum aperture is f4. When you wind that out to 150mm, then your maximum aperture is f5.6. Minimum aperture on both those extremes is f22 across the board, so it fits very nicely in the sort of standard lens sort of thing, especially for a kit lens. Not too bad at all actually for a kit lens. What else we got? Weight, 6.7 ounces, that's only 190 grams, so when I said it's easy to put in your pocket, it is. It's very, very lightweight. 7 aperture blades, so it gives a reasonably nice bokeh if you can get it close enough. And on this lens, even though it's only f4, because you can use that compression ability that you get with a long lens, it is possible to get some reasonable bokeh in some of your shots. Not fascinatingly good, but reasonable and usable. It's 13 elements in 10 groups, so an awful lot of lenses fitted in that little body. And field of view is maximum of 30 degrees. That's 30 degrees all the way out to 8.2 degrees. That's when it's zoomed in 150mm. The problem with this lens, and why I don't use it a lot, is because even at its most open at 40mm, you're just too close to an awful lot of things. Remember that 40mm is a full frame equivalent of 80mm, so this is equivalent to an 80 to 300mm lens. And in normal day-to-day shooting, if you're going around town or most things, it's a little bit on the long side for that. So I don't tend to use it a huge amount, but it's one of those lenses it's worth keeping in your pocket a lot. If you're just coming into Micro Four Thirds photography, these can be got from about £160 upwards, brand new. I think it was £159.99 I saw in UK prices on Amazon when I was looking a few minutes ago, although they can go up to a lot more than that. As I say, it's used on the second-hand market. They are very, very common and very inexpensive, usually a lot less than £100, so superb value for money. As I say, it does have the MSC motor in it, which is the super quiet motor, which is ideal if you're using it for multimedia work such as video, but it is a superb photographic lens for stills too. Well, with the sea roaring in the background here at Scarborough, let's tell you a little bit about Scarborough. I've been looking up on my phone as to some of the key attractions. Well, obviously you've got what I've just been taking there, which is the railway, which takes you from the seafront all the way up to the centre of the town. It's a track railway with an incredible slope on that to get you up there. And it's been going for over 100 years. Let's see what else the Scarborough have on their tourist information site, because it is a fascinating place to visit. You have the castle, which is now behind me as opposed to being in front like it was before. And that's great. I mean, obviously it's a seaside resort, so you've got beautiful golden sand here, not rocky at all. And if you get onto the beach during the summer, of course you can have the obligatory donkey rides and things. It's voted as one of the was it the top 6, I think it is, top 6 seaside attractions in the UK, and a really good place to come to. There's museums here, you've got an aqua park, you've all sorts of things that you can come and see. There's a sea life centre as well, but it's just a wonderful place to come out and meet lots of people. It's not silly busy, it's May at the moment, so it's not silly busy. And I would have expected it to be quite busy anyway, because we have the coronation tomorrow in the UK, whereas I'm shooting this, because I'm shooting this on the Friday. And we've got a certain amount of bunting and things out in the town, but not a great deal. But I thought there might have been a few people having the holiday spirit, but it is actually quite quiet here. So if you are wanting the holiday destination in the UK, think about having a few days in Scarborough. Well, shooting wise, of course, we have the same problem. Whenever we have rain and clouds and things, as soon as we start to get the sun come out after a big heavy rainfall, we get condensation form, we get steam rising up from the roads, and where we wanted good visibility because it's sunny, well, we get that haze from all the condensation from the water which is evaporating back up the sky. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get myself any fantastic shots today, because of course as soon as you get that water vapor in the air, you lose all the contrast from the film and the detail, because it just blurs everything. It's like putting a soft focus filter in front of your lens every time, and it does have one advantage. It really gives you very soft light. There is no shadows whatsoever to see today. It doesn't matter where you look, there's no shadows. I think the only place I've seen shadows is directly underneath the cars passing by me. But apart from that, it does give very soft light. You know, seaside holiday resorts can be a fantastic place for a photographer. They're full of such interesting things. I mean, we've got this Ferris wheel behind me, we've got the sea down just a few yards across the road from me with the crashing waves. We've got all the amusement arcades and wonderful flashing neon lights and signs. And yet we also have fantastic gardens. We're just beside St Nicholas Gardens here at Scarborough, and beautiful green grass and foliage just in the background. It's a fantastic place to come to, whether it be Scarborough or Brighton or any of the holiday resorts, Whitley Bay where I'm from. They're always such colourful, fascinating places. And if you take the time just to look around you and use your camera, then you can get some superb shots and some really interesting ones. Whether you're doing wide landscapes, whether you're doing seascapes, or even if you're doing a little bit of sort of abstract work, taking photographs like I've been doing today of some of the fences, the Victorian cast metal fences, cast iron fences, I find those fantastic. And some of the old architecture up on the hills, like the hotel, I'm just looking up the hotel on the hill there, and that to me is absolutely fabulous too. So don't be afraid to go to somewhere which is a holiday destination, and look out for some interesting things to take photos of. It's right on your doorstep normally, and it's usually actually under your feet and you don't even notice. Now, other things I look out for when I'm taking photographs are just things which will fire my imagination. Things like those fabulous staircases behind where you've got them going up the side of this hill. I love the way that it can lead the eye into the houses at the top and the hotels at the top of the hill. I love the fact that it's been made a feature of, not recently, this is 100 years ago that this park was created, and it's been put in place, and it actually is a pleasing thing, even 100 years later, which still draws the eye to the places it wanted to, and also of course makes a fantastic passage to where you need to go. You know, I've really enjoyed taking this little camera out today. I've had good fun with it. As I say, you can't get the nearby shots. It's just too closely cropped being a medium telephoto zoom. But take that into account and you've got some fantastic ability to get some great shots which can fire the imagination a little bit. It's light. I've got it on the GX8, as I say, and the GX8 feels incredibly heavy in comparison to the lens. Even though the lens does bellow out, it doesn't twist insofar as the front piece. It's literally a straightforward bellow, but because of that it does sort of look a bit long and ungainly. But even with it bellowed out here, the camera is incredibly balanced, and as I say, with it fully wound in, it feels a little bit back heavy if anything. I do find that the lens does lend itself to certain styles of photography more than others, which is understandable in this because, as I say, the focal length. but I also find this, because it is light, because it is small, because it is easy to use, it does encourage you to get some of those shots you would miss on a more standard sort of kit zoom lens. Why don't you try something of this focal length and give it a go and see what you think about it. And as I say, if you are in the market for a very small, very inexpensive lens, maybe this is the one for you. So if you're in the market for a medium-sized telephoto lens, this might be the one for you if you're just getting the Micro Four Thirds and you want inexpensive lenses. Would I buy one now? No, I wouldn't, because I think the super zooms like the 14-140 Lumix and the 12-200 Olympus, which I've reviewed in this review above for both of those lenses, I think they do a far better job. And although a little bit more expensive, it's a one lens option. I still have to take at least two lenses out. A smaller zoom and this one if I want to get any normal work, and the 14-140 or the 12-200 even better. You've got a really wide set of lenses there for not a great deal more money and just as good quality. So thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed our little visit to Scarborough and the use of the 14-140 Olympus lens. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. A big thank you to these people here, because these are the patrons of my channel and they help support the channel. And also, if you want to become a patron, or if you just want to leave me a note for a cup of coffee, there's a couple of links down below in the description. Go to see them if you want to. I really appreciate all the support from everyone. Don't forget, as I say, give a big thumbs up, because that helps YouTube's algorithm spread these videos further and wider. And if you're not a subscriber, why not? It's free. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell and tick all beside it to get notifications every time I put a new video up. But wherever you are, whether you're in a seaside resort or whether you're in your back garden, don't forget, keep on taking your camera out, keep on having fun with your photography. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.